Hi, I'm Roger Mashad. At Franklin Templeton Investments, we believe that citizens need to be informed about the resources that can help make higher education more affordable. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Investors Bank, New Jersey Natural Gas, proud to support education in our communities, Celgene Corporation, committed to improving the lives of patients worldwide, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation, Josh S. Weston, and by Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato. It is our pleasure for the first time to introduce one of the top CEOs, not just in this state, but in this country. Carlos Rodriguez is President and Chief Executive Officer of a great company called ADP. How you doing, Carlos?
I'm great. Thanks, Steve.
Your company has a fascinating history. 1949 started?
That's right.
By?
Henry Taub. And he
Why?
got a little help from Frank Lautenberg.
Yeah, that's right. The great Frank Lautenberg. What's the history behind it?
Well, Henry saw a need, as all entrepreneurs do, and started off just by himself, going around trying to sell his product, and created an entire industry that is now multi-billion dollars, and obviously an enterprise that just alone ADP is $12 billion. And he got a little help from Frank. A few years later, Frank became the first full-time salesperson. And together, the two of them built an incredible enterprise that has 60,000 associates worldwide now, $12 billion in revenue, and we have 4,000 associates just in New Jersey alone.
And the services that ADP provides?
We really are obviously what we're known for is payroll. That's how the company started. That's how Henry started the company, is really helping people do their payrolls, pay their taxes. But we've branched out into a number of other services for employers, including benefits administration, time and attendance systems, performance review systems, recruiting tools, so all kinds of stuff related to anything from hiring an employee to taking them all the way through retirement.
We should also disclose that one of the underwriters of this program is a mutual friend of ours, Josh Weston, who was connected to ADP as the former CEO,
actually our third CEO.
That's right.
Happened to be our sixth CEO.
And also he's the chairman of the board of public broadcasting in the state of New Jersey. And
a great philanthropist.
He absolutely is. Let me ask you, Carlos, one of the things that I always find fascinating about ADP, other than the business success, is the commitment to philanthropy. You and I had a conversation the other day on the phone. We were talking about volunteerism. We were talking about the role of ADP in that regard. And you were talking about, and we'll show some video of this, Patterson, where we happen to be taping this particular edition of One-on-One, and Habitat for Humanity, and an initiative that, excuse me, you and your colleagues are involved in. And you said you got pretty hands-on. Let's talk about it.
Well, we have a long history all the way from Henry through Josh. All my predecessors have always been very committed to the communities that we operate in, but specifically New Jersey, because it's our home state. And Patterson is where our company was founded. And so everyone in ADP has always been committed to doing whatever we can, and it just so happens that Habitat for Humanity has a large project going on in Patterson. So we have, over the course of the last 10 years, have gotten up to the point where we have now 400 of our associates participate personally in not just raising money, but also physically helping build houses in Patterson.
Actually building. Jackie, let's show some of those shots as we're talking about this. So you actually getting involved, describe that.
Well, I think you got to lead from the I think you got to be leading from the front and from the top, and I think that's something that we've always believed in at ADP. And so I personally, for the last couple of years, have been going out and participating with our associates, and it's been great because you get a sense of fulfillment because you actually see physically the impact of what you're doing. But the most satisfying thing was going back this year and looking at a house that we helped build last year and seeing toys on the balcony of that house, knowing that there's a family with kids that are actually now being able to live in that home and enjoying it.
Why is community involvement and volunteerism such a big deal? I mean, particularly in these tough economic times, you say, hey, it's bottom line, we got to get productivity out of our people. And then you turn around saying, hey, we promote volunteerism. And then when they are out there doing what they're doing, they are not, quote, in the office being productive. Is that a contradiction?
I don't think so. I think we have a lot of stakeholders as a large corporation. And you're right, at the end of the day, we do need to deliver profits for our shareholders. But we also have, I think, commitments to and obligations to our communities and to our associates. And so I think our volunteerism and the activities that we have through our foundation in terms of just philanthropy, I think are a way of giving back to the communities that we serve, because we want strong, vibrant communities. It's good for us, it's good for our associates,
and real
it's good
quick,
for our clients.
sorry for interrupting, Carlos, some of the organizations that you actually are very involved in are pretty terrific organizations. Name a couple.
Well, we're involved with some of the, like Liberty Science Center, NJPAC. We also are one of the largest participants and sponsors of the Essex Heart Walk.
It's a big deal.
So we really, our associates every year also participate in helping volunteer at Newark, at some of the schools in Newark, in order to help them in terms of bringing some educational resources to them, and also just some physical resources in terms of helping clean up.
You do something else that we got connected to up at William Patterson University, Russ and Angelica Berry Foundation. They do a terrific sales competition, amazing sales competition that ADP is a big part of as well. This sales training institute, the Berry operation is amazing up there, and you guys are involved in that with William Patterson University. I just happen to know that as well.
No, it's great. I actually got a chance to go there and do a little bit of a tour, and it was really quite impressive that they involved some of our sales folks to physically go there and help train some of the students. And it's great because we have a large sales force that we're always looking for bright young people coming out of school with good sales skills.
Recruiting tool, huh?
It's a good partnership.
Before I let you out of here, your journey to the position of leadership at ADP. Where'd you grow up?
So I actually was born in Cuba, and when I was 3 years old, my family in 1967 moved to the United States, to Miami, Florida, along with, as you probably know, the history of what's happened in Cuba. So a lot of folks left, fleeing communism, and we fled to the United States. Fortunately, thank goodness, this country welcomed us with open arms. Grew up in Miami, Florida, went to school in Boston. Went back to live in Miami, married a wonderful woman who was from Miami as well, and then joined ADP really through an acquisition. I was with a company that got acquired by ADP in 1999, and then in 2007, ADP asked me to move to New Jersey, so I did. It's been a wonderful move for me and for my family. We really love being in New Jersey, and that gave me an opportunity to really rotate through different parts of the business in ADP, and fortunately I ended up being in a succession process and became CEO in 2011. So it's been a really, it's part of, you would really want to describe really as the American dream. My experience really has been an amazing one of going from arriving in this country with just clothes on our backs and a suitcase and being able to be the CEO of a Fortune 250 company. It's really a remarkable experience.
Was that the plan?
Well, you know how it is. It's never the plan. And by the way, there could have been lots of other outcomes that I would have been perfectly happy with, but you know, I couldn't have asked for more in terms of a dream. I really grew up in a household where I heard from my parents and my grandparents stories about when they were in Cuba, they were entrepreneurs and had businesses, and I was always interested in business.
Given everything you've experienced that a lot of us can't even comprehend, one of the keys to success for those who say, hey, listen, I'm born into a certain situation, what are the odds? I mean, I could never. Look where I was born, look where I was raised, look at the schools, look at my circumstances. I could never, you say?
It's really about, it sounds like a cliche, but it's hard work and education. And the education part, you know, I was fortunate enough that I was given financial aid and scholarships to be able to go to college. Otherwise, I would have never been able to go to college. So one of the other things that we do in terms of our community involvement and giving back is we have these scholarships that actually last week we just celebrated giving them out. They're called the Henry Tubb Scholarships, where we give out scholarships to 5 of the children of our associates, $20,000 per year for 4 years each, precisely to be able to make sure that people who want to attend college can attend college, and that financial hardship is not something that gets in the way. So it's a combination of education, It's what opens up the doors to opportunity in this country. I think Henry believed it. Josh believes it. I think all of my predecessors believed it, and it's something that the foundation is a big sponsor of, is of scholarships. But you really can't take away also the part of hard work. There really is no substitute, and people are always talking about connections and networking, and those things all help. And a little bit of luck, by the way, helps, because I definitely had a little bit of luck in my path to being in the seat that I'm in. But I think there's no substitute for hard work. So as much as it's a cliche, I think hard work is really the key.
And never giving up. Carlos Rodriguez, President and CEO ADP. I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Fascinating people. One-on-one, we'll be right back right after this. Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you.
To see more one-on-one programs, visit us online at oneonone.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to be joined by Dr. Sohail Sheikh with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. He is a gastroenterologist whose area of expertise is interventional bariatric specialty.
Yes, that's correct. Interventional bariatrics, endoscopic bariatrics to be specific.
Let's talk about this endoscopic gastric sleeve. It's interesting. Not only is it hard to say, it's hard to understand. It's an endoscopic gastric sleeve.
That's correct.
What is this? And we're going to talk about who's a candidate for it, right? Because it has to do with people who have weight issues, right?
Yes,
some
that's
obesity issues. And I'm curious about this, doctor, the difference between why I would get this sleeve and why I wouldn't get some other surgery. So what is it? What is this sleeve? And then we'll compare that versus a surgery.
Okay, so the interesting part of obesity in this country is, unfortunately, it's actually more prevalent than hunger. We have 30% of the United States population is obese, over 60% is overweight. And of the procedures that we do currently, we're only scratching the surface. About 178,000 procedures were done last year. That's only 2% of the population that actually needs the procedure. That leaves another 19 million that don't have anything done, and another 80+ million who actually need a procedure but don't quite qualify.
Why? Well, hold on. For those who aren't getting it, who do qualify, why aren't they getting it?
There are a number of reasons why people are afraid of surgery. Either financially there are difficulties, or there can be pain or fear of cutting or fear of complications of surgery. That tends to be a strong driver in terms of patients staying away from having an intervention.
Now this sleeve, talk about it. We're going to show some video. Jackie, we have some video of it. As we show this video, please talk it through,
Sure.
doctor.
Not a problem. So a tube or an endoscope, as you can see here, is passed through the esophagus or through your mouth into the stomach. And we're basically able to, much like they do with the surgical methods, they're able to limit the volume. Here we place sutures along the anterior, lateral, and posterior wall. And these sutures basically achieve the same goal, which is to reduce the volume of the stomach.
Are you shrinking the stomach?
Exactly. We're shrinking the stomach to where it's restricted, much like you do during a surgical procedure, except here we do it through the mouth without any cuts from the outside, with minimal to no pain, with a very fast recovery time.
Okay, so there's got to be a drastically different recovery period for this versus a more traditional surgery.
Yes.
Describe it.
So these procedures, as we do currently, you actually have them the same day, and you're either able to go home that night or early the next day. There's no extended stay in terms of 2 or 3 days. The side effects can be a little bit of nausea, which are common to all bariatric procedures, but in general, patients are able to resume their regular activities within 3 to 4 days.
Well, you know, there's an obvious question. People watching us on public broadcasting, on FiOS and other places right now are asking, okay, so why would I ever have surgery if I could do this? I mean, but not everyone's the candidate. So explain that part. That's the part I'm not getting at.
Okay.
Who is a candidate for the sleeve? Who's a better candidate for surgery? And how do you know?
So everything is decided on a case-by-case basis. It really depends on what other medical conditions you have, and that's where the interplay between the endoscopic bariatric physician and or your primary doctor comes into play. There are a number of modalities that are around. You have things like laparoscopic band, you have Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, you have sleeve gastrectomy, and now you have these endoscopic options, which are further and further developing over the next years. The benefit of these procedures is that it does take advantage of a natural route, meaning your mouth. So you don't have the possible complications of hernias or wall infection, or even from a cosmetic standpoint, you don't have any cuts from the outside. And the pain benefit is also there. So for patients who are afraid of either being cut or having pain, this is substantially beneficial for them. And there are other patients that qualify as well. After several operations, say a C-section, or if you had your gallbladder taken out, or other abdominal procedures, those scars or those changes inside your belly may make it more difficult to have a bariatric procedure.
There are some people watching us right now who either have had lap band surgery or who know of someone who has actually had lap band surgery, and they're saying, wait a minute, am I out because I went this route?
No, and that's the benefit for these procedures as well. Because we do them through the mouth, in the stomach, depending on what you have had before, whether it's a gastric sleeve or Roux-en-Y gastric bypass or even a lap band, we still have further interventions that we're able to supply to these patients regardless of what they've had in the past.
When did you get interested in this and why?
It's very personal to me. I had a very close, one of my family members actually succumbed to some of the ailments that come with having an overweight, having a problem with weight. My mother had succumbed to diabetes after a long period of time. And I wish that there was someone there that could have helped her like me.
She suffered for a long time.
Yes.
Had you had not made the decision as to, had you made the decision to go into medicine?
I was in medicine. I was in training. I was actually chief of my program, and I saw the deleterious effects that being overweight can have and the long-stemming effects and how it can cut not only years but decades off of your life. And had there been this type of intervention for those individuals who just needed something, who maybe they didn't quite qualify, but they really needed something to help them lose the weight, to help them stay around longer for their family.
Doctor, for so many people watching right now, I know you know this because you see these people every day, but a lot more people are watching you right now, and I know there's reason for hope, and not that it means it's for everyone, but it means there's a discussion to be had with your physician.
Absolutely.
And there's information that needs to be gained. And we've been putting up information throughout the program so that people can get more for themselves. And I want to thank you for joining us and to share everything that you did. Dr. Sohail Sheikh with St. Joseph's Healthcare System, a gastroenterologist in general, but your expertise is interventional, bariatric, and endoscopy.
Correct.
I want to thank you for what you do, not just from a clinical point of view, but with the empathy and compassion and caring, which is so important beyond the clinical side. So thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Steve.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
One-on-one, we'll be right back right after this. Stay with us. Thank you, Doctor.
To see more one-on-one programs, visit us online at oneonone.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Jan Hines is manager of hospital services at the New Jersey Sharing Network, our partner in trying to educate and make people aware of organ and tissue donation.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
It's our pleasure to have you. For those who do not know what the New Jersey Sharing Network is, describe it.
Okay. We're a non-for-profit organization. We're based out of New Providence, New Jersey, and our mission is really to save and enhance lives through the gift of organ and tissue donation. So we work very closely with families that are making end-of-life decisions, offering them the opportunity to donate, and then facilitating that process to get people off the waiting list and save lives.
You do amazing work. They really
Thank
do.
you.
And Joe Roth and some of these others who are over there we've been working with, and we'll be showing some video throughout this program about the 5K race that you guys had?
Yes.
It was
Yep.
great.
Just this past June was our 4th year. Close to 9,000 people participated, and it was incredible to see donor families, transplant recipients, partners in the community hospitals come together and really celebrate life and how even through death and through tragedy, life can continue, and what that means to recipients that are given a second chance, and the gratitude that they feel was really shining through that day. It was incredible.
Our executive producer of programming and the host of Life and Living, Joanna Gagas, our partner and colleague, was out there and just came back and was glowing about the impact that you have every day. But let me ask you, Your involvement in this organization, in this mission, we were just talking about this before we got on the air, comes through a personal experience of a friend that you lost, about 15 years old?
My first dealings with organ donation or learning really anything about it was when I was a sophomore in high school. I had a friend that passed away tragically in a motor vehicle collision. And, you know, all of us were really shocked by this loss. So young to be taken so suddenly was really difficult to deal with. But her parents shared with us that she was an organ donor and was able to save the lives of 7 through that decision. So even, you know, through that tragedy and through that loss, to know that in such a short time on this earth, she was able to impact and save the lives of 7 people really had a profound impact on me. And, you know, little,
how so?
Well, just, you know, you always hope that you can leave something past this life that's really going to benefit others. So to be so young and see that you can save lives, I think was something I just never realized was even possible. And it was interesting how it kind of shaped my young advocacy as a, you know, promoting an awareness about organ and tissue donation, which eventually brought me to the New Jersey Sharing Network.
Let's put things in perspective a little bit.
Okay.
One organ donor. You listened to Jan talk about her friend that you lost at 15. One organ donor can save up to 8 lives.
Right.
One tissue donor can restore health to 50 to 75 people.
Exactly.
Now, as you watch this program and you see the website for the New Jersey Sharing Network, it is up there so that you can make the decision to get more information. Because people can make decisions, families can make decisions for themselves as to whether they want to participate, right?
Right, exactly.
And how many people are waiting?
How many people are waiting? Over 120,000 people are currently waiting, over 5,000 of which are right here in the state of...
Waiting for?
Heart, lungs, liver, kidney, pancreas. It's really amazing because for us, and our kind of #1 focus is really about awareness, right? Getting the word out, because most people, and you know, even with my role with hospital services, being in hospitals, working with doctors, nurses, community partners, they just don't realize that the need is as great as it is, nor that the impact is so huge. To think about, you know, making that decision, talking with your family to be a donor, and like you said, saving or enhancing the lives of 15, 30, 60, 70 plus people, I just don't think people realize that that's even a possibility. And having those discussions is key. Unfortunately, the great majority of the time, these are sudden and unexpected deaths. You know, even in the case of my friend, you know,
a car accident.
Yeah, she should have lived a long and healthy life. We weren't ready to deal with her impending death. And in the midst of crisis, it's really difficult to make decisions that you haven't thought about, talked about, you know the facts about.
So when should we talk about this? I mean, people watching right now are saying they're moved by what you're saying. They're clearly moved by what your friend's family did for such a young woman, girl, who has helped so many. 7 other people are living because of her.
Right.
But they said, well, what do you want to do? You want me to have a discussion right now while we're healthy and able-bodied and have our minds are working? You're saying yes, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that conversation go, Jan?
I mean, I think it's pretty simple, you know. We all have to face the reality that there will come a point in time where our lives end. So what do you want to do with the life that you may be able to give to others? And I think what's so rewarding about working with New Jersey Sharing Network is not only that you see patients literally able to have a second chance of life and not die waiting, but you also get to see families later, maybe it's a few months or a few years, know that part of their loved one is living on, and that really helps them almost as much as it helps those that benefit.
Jen, let me ask you, your actual work with the New Jersey Sharing Network, describe it.
Okay. I manage the Department of Hospital Services. We are responsible for education within the hospitals, with physicians, with nurses, hospital administrators, making sure that every family is offered the opportunity for organ donation or tissue donation based on medical suitability. So, you know, we do education with when to refer patients that meet certain criteria, and then our transplant coordinators will come on site and sit down face-to-face with families.
What about the doctors? What about their role in all this?
So, yeah, I mean, we work really closely with critical care physicians to make sure that patients, when the opportunity is presented that organ donation is a possibility, that we really work hand in hand. What I find to be the most interesting kind of misconception, or just what people
A lot
don't...
of misconceptions out there.
Yes, there are a lot. Is that anyone and everyone can donate, you know, and I always thought prior to working at the Sharing Network that once I checked off that I wanted to donate, that meant I would go on and save the lives of, you know, numerous people.
That's what our license plate, our license is for, driver license.
Exactly.
Check it off, we're good. No?
But what most people don't realize is that the opportunity for specifically organ donation is so rare. Less than 1% of all deaths are medically suitable to donate organs. So you can imagine why even one family who declines, you know, when you only have a few hundred options a year in the state of New Jersey to transplant 5,000 plus people, it really is a devastating loss. So really working closely with the physicians, with nurses to make sure that no family is deprived the opportunity to donate is kind of our key mission with hospital services and development.
You love what you do.
I do. Is it obvious?
Yeah, it is. Jan Hines is the manager of hospital services with our partners at the New Jersey Sharing Network, who every day are doing important work and sharing important information that saves lives every day. Jan, I want to thank you very much for coming in and providing great public service.
Thank you for having me.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Investors Bank, New Jersey Natural Gas, Celgene Corporation, the law firm of Gibbons PC, New Jersey Sharing Network, Josh S. Weston, and by Choose New Jersey. Promotional support provided by The Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by Commerce Magazine. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Hi, I'm Peter Rooney. In 2006, I lost my father to renal disease. He was on the waiting list for a new kidney, but did not receive one in time. Unfortunately, so many like my father have lost their lives while waiting for a life-saving organ. At New Jersey Sharing Network, we're committed to saving and enhancing people's lives through organ and tissue donation and by informing people about this important decision. Because you can make a difference and save a life.